Backstretch, you got to watch yourself. That's a half track away from the flag. You got to watch yourself back there, Hot Wheels.
Oh, that's why they call me Hot Wheels. I'm going to burn that track up.
Well, you're not going to burn it up very much because I'll have the track already tore up the time you ever get there.
Well, now, you may have experience in Boswell, and I've got the watchful experience here in Vermilion County Speedway.
You know, inside that distinguished outer shell, Bill Burnside, he had a really fun-loving, lighthearted nature about him. Hello, everyone. I'm Lora Johnson. Just a couple years ago, I'd shared my life as part of the WITY family. And back then, you would actually know me as Lora Jacobson. Bill Burnside found a special passion that dated as far back as probably the years he spent in Decatur. At least that passion was really brought about, especially with the excitement of Larry Boom Boom Cannon and other great dirt car drivers in the past. That was definitely instrumental in feeding that passion for automobile racing. He wasn't at all picky. You know, usually some fans are more for the IndyCar, more for Formula One, more for NASCAR, but it really didn't matter to Burnside. As long as it had wheels, an engine, and the potential to go fast, he was a fan of it. His love for racing led to his very endearing nickname, Hot Wheels.
Hi, this is Bill Burnside, your Hot Wheels reporter for WITY from the Indianapolis 593rd Annual Auto Race, and it's the 128 report. We've had a third question come out on lap 56. It was Graham Rahal who went high in number 4 and hit the wall.
Talking the first person at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, none other than Teresa and Doug Barnett from Danville. Doug's an agent. He was able to get Eddie Cheever to take his driver this time. Doug, you tell us what all happened, if you will.
You know, Bill Burnside was more than willing to share that passion with others, and that included reporting updates on both the Indianapolis 500 as well as the Brickyard 400, and that happened here on WITY. But in 2006, Burnside really set his sights back to the roots of racing and didn't have to go too far to do so. Right here in our backyard at Vermilion County Speedway. He wasn't really satisfied with just reporting the race results. He wanted to get into pits. He wanted to get in the action and capture the emotions both before and after the race, which there was plenty of different ones, kind of depending on how the night the drivers have, and then really give a glimpse from the fans' perspective on local stock car racing. And thus, a new show was born.
Well, good afternoon again. This is Bill Burnside with the second episode of your Vermilion County Speedway Racing Report. And we're going to discuss 2 evenings. Not only are we going to discuss what's coming up this Friday night, but we're going to start off with last Friday night and then after intermission go into what happened last Sunday night.
The Speedway Report, which was later named the Speedway Show, it really did take a team effort. That was from the very first interview to the final touches of production. So beyond just the hour that you heard on the air, there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes, as many things are here in radio. But that was where I joined Bill Burnside in his passion for racing. I was charged with the production of the Speedway Show and said, "This is your baby." I did not even imagine what kind of experiences that I was going to have as being a part of the Speedway Show and how much Bill Burnside would be able to make an impact on my life. We sure shared the passion for racing, and looking beyond those fast cars and roaring engines, we really did experience the true heart of stock car racing.
Well, I thought the camaraderie of the drivers among their own group was just fantastic. These are some of the best friends when they're off the track and mortal enemies when they're on the track. Mm-hmm. They have no friendship when they're there, but they get off the track. If they need help, there's another guy around there that'll give them a hand. Whatever they seem to need, there's someone there that'll help them out. Absolutely. And they have a great camaraderie.
And as he'd like to take all points of view of the track, Bill Burnside even went to the stands for a while.
It was interesting. One time I got up into the stands and started interviewing some of the fans, which would be moms, spouses, aunts, uncles, this type of person, and that was interesting for me to be able to talk to those people and get their reactions.
As the show continued, the drivers, the promoters, the track staff, and the fans really did see a true friend in Bill Burnside. But to Burnside, he made himself a second home.
I'm sure we'll see a good race tonight. Looks like they're going to iron the track out probably for you guys ahead of time and we'll have a good show.
Just hope it's smooth. That's something we haven't seen here for a good while. I'd just like to have a smooth racetrack to race on.
Well, I've heard that from other guys, so it may be the time.
Yeah, my kidneys can't take much more of it.
Okay. Rob Fuquay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We're going to come out and have some fun tonight.
Well, that's what we're here for, and plus I'm sure, boy, there went your wheel right off there already.
That ain't a good sign.
Hopefully Friday the 13th will
and bring something good. I'm wearing a green shirt and green boxers, and it's Friday the 13th, so all I'm missing is some peanuts.
A little rough out there. I'll tell you what, I'm worn out. I think I need to find a treadmill.
Now we got a Powder Puff trophy here. Who's holding it?
Vicki Parsons.
And you did something that your husband couldn't do last
He tried.
He tried.
Bill, you've had something at the track all year long that very few tracks ever have.
What's that, buddy?
Well, you've got a radio announcer out there that comes out and does interviews with the race cars in wingtips.
Oh.
WMC Burnside.
There's very few guys that can pull that off in a pair of wingtips.
WMC Burnside is one of them. Then
I started dead last.
That's what
Dead last the second.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. You had a big field, about 18 or 19 cars in there tonight.
Good cars.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, over half of them cars probably up there. Our pass was probably $12,000-$15,000 Mullins engines, and I'm still running a motor out of my garage. So.
Tiger engine in here. Well, I can tell that from your accent you are
I don't have
Midwestern.
I think you're the one with an accent. I don't have much. I think I talk normal.
Okay, right.
Yeah, a lot of times he tells me stuff and I don't listen to him, but
That's the way sons and fathers do.
yeah, I did tonight though.
But I'd like to know really what your wife thought of the whole season for you.
Well, she put up with me.
Henry David Thoreau once said, "I want to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life." Bill Burnside took this to heart and pretty much made this his life motto. During the 2006 season, he took the driver's seat for the Vermilion County Speedway's media race.
But I think the whole highlight of the year was the Friday night when I got to watch the media race and to watch Bill Hot Wheels Burnside on that racetrack. I have never seen someone so intense and so purpose-driven that night to give it his all. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was exciting to watch you that night, and I know that you'll never forget that night either.
No, and I will never forget that you've got to learn to get it out of first gear and into second if you're going to do any good.
This was sure one of my favorite memories of Bill Burnside, the fact that it didn't matter whether he would win or lose. The smile on his face as he got out of that car was just something that's always going to keep in my mind forever. It didn't matter to him because he just achieved something that dreams were made of. That's what he wanted to do. And that would not be the first and only time that he would be sitting in a race car. He raced again in an official heat the following year. And in more recent time, he rode in a NASCAR Regulation 2-seated stock car as part of the Richard Petty driving experience. So between these adventures and his family trips to Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, Bill Burnside did not let any obstacle get in his way, especially his age. It didn't matter. That is something that was really exciting about him, is the fact that he never let anything get in his way, because he really knew that God blessed him with the opportunities to experience the wonderful things that we have in this world, and he appreciated every single moment of them. Although you may have only heard us together on the air for about an hour a week, the bond Bill Burnside and I had extended off the air is just one that I'll eternally treasure. The circumstances really didn't allow me to have a grandfather-granddaughter relationship. I didn't have one in my life growing up. So as we worked together, Bill Burnside really became more of that pseudo-grandfather, that wonderful grandfather figure, that greatest one I could have, actually. As he's had with many others in the community, Bill was very loving, very compassionate, very intelligent man. And we shared our lives over racing steaks. And that's race talk for hot dogs. So there you go. You learn an extra lesson. Also, various lunches and different restaurants throughout town as we were preparing for the shows. He was full of knowledge of life, and he certainly had that grandfather-like way of sharing advice to you. He supported me 100% as, just over 2 years ago, I decided to return to St. Louis to go back to school and finish my master's program. He backed me 100% for that. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity for him to meet the man that would become my husband. And they had the chance to talk and get to know each other. And it was definitely a wonderful experience that I had with him. And it was one of the last experiences that I had with Bill Burnside, was for him to have that opportunity to meet him. And as you see, though, Bill had that same love and compassion with pretty much everybody else he met, too. It wasn't just me, or wasn't just his family. He kind of had that way with everyone. And upon news of his passing, modified driver Ryan Carey had this to say: "Bill was a great man who loved his community. He was a good friend of my late grandpa, Al Gardner, so I'd known Bill for many years. He was always the first one to come ask how I was doing and if I was ready to beat my dad that evening at the Speedway. He was a great man and will be missed by many. Also, Mike Pollitt, who was a Hornet driver that became the pure stock driver during the last couple years of Vermilion County Speedway. He says, my memories of Bill at the track are very dear to me. He was so full of energy, no matter his age when it came to racing. Bill might as well have been a teenager. I was always proud to do interviews with Bill. He just made you comfortable, like it was just you and him and the radio wasn't even there. The track has been closed 2 years now, and I haven't seen Bill in a while. But I'll always remember Bill's smile and how proud he was of me that I had climbed to the top of my class. Memories of him bring tears of joy to my eyes. Bill touched everyone, and Bill's memories will always be dear to me. As you've heard, Bill Burnside really carried a legacy of love and compassion and had that drive to experience everything that God had to offer in this world. In my opinion, if there's anything we could really learn from him, and as I've learned from him, it's not to just exist or survive, not just do the day-to-day, go home, go to work, go to bed. Really take the time to live and not let anything stop you. Don't let anything get in your way. I'm going to close my thoughts. It's an excerpt of a poem that was written by the member of the Burton family. They were part of the racing team over at Vermilion County Speedway, modified drivers RB and Marvin Burton. The poem was originally written after the passing of their friend and fellow driver and crew member John Waggle, and that was back in 2007. And I hope they don't mind. I'm going to make one minor adjustment as I read an excerpt from their poem, The Last Lap. I've done a lot of things, been to a lot of races, and I will miss all your smiling faces. I've had a lifelong passion for racing cars, and I'll continue to watch from up above the stars. I hope you remember all the good and wrote my secrets from down under the hood. Racing is like in so many ways, you cannot measure your success by your days. I've had many accomplishments in my 75 years. We've won some, lost some, and I've seen a few tears. But please don't cry. I wouldn't want it this way. Finish the race. I'll see you at the checkered flag someday.